and then it slowly dwindled to like 9, or then it went down to like 4 because people were like, "What the fuck is this?" We're like, "Oh, we're just reading an Oscar Wilde play." We didn't exactly acknowledge that in the stream, just kept reading it, and then people would be like coming in and they'd be like, "What the fuck is this? This is not what I thought this was going to be."
Also, people probably thought you were talking about some sort of drama thing.
Yeah, they wanted to see like what was going on. Like they were like coming to like be looky-loos or whatever, and we're just like halfway through like an Oscar Wilde play.
And we are live. Actually, we have been for a little bit.
Now everybody's curious as to what's going on. They're like, "What are you talking about?"
Ah, come on.
So anyway,
my tablet.
Allie, as always, and I believe you know who these two people are by now.
Based Mama.
Are you based _mama on Twitter?
I have 2 because they get banned a lot. So I am Based Mama, and then I'm also not Based Mama because I'm totally not Based Mama.
Oh, gotcha.
Didn't Marty do that once with his accounts? Constantly banning him?
Not Roman. He was, not Roman.
I remember
for a while.
He was Roman not. Roman _not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that he went on a stream of mine once, and then he was like winking while saying, "Hey, this is not my Twitter account." Have his actual like, it was kind of pointless to be winking.
You're cutting out on me. What?
What?
You were cutting out for me because I'm out here with my crappy laptop or tablet.
Oh, so am I unclear right now, or?
Yeah, it's me because I'm too far away from my router.
Can you hear me okay, Allie, or?
Yeah, you're good.
Sorry, it's just that we often have tech issues, so it's hard to know whether it's the guest or me.
It's Hangouts, man. Hangouts is the worst.
It works for what it works for, but it's better with like just one other person. Because if you're like, if you're too many people, then it starts to like glitch and shit.
Yeah, that's why I have a 6-person limit.
The 6-person rule.
I need to like enforce
nothing
that.
above it.
Because when you get too many people on, you have like that one person that just talks over everybody else, and everybody else is just sitting there. Like that's such a huge problem.
Work for someone like me who has a hard time speaking communication, so it's like I'm having a hard time actually saying anything. And stuff.
Usually I just take over and start reading gross poetry.
Pretty much. And Jason.
Oh, hi guys. My chat is like not working.
It's not working for me either. But hi.
So weird. Okay. That's probably because I'm like on my phone. Oh, sorry.
Do you want to go to a Mama, or do you want to see some of the articles I found around the internet?
Yeah.
Like a more organized format.
Oh, there's a lot of mama love in the chat. Everybody loves Based Mama. You're one of Jason's favorite people and Hitsugi's favorite people.
Oh, hey, you guys. I have to like flee from my kids. They're watching Phineas and Ferb. Really loud. I'm like trying not to get I'm like super paranoid about incidental recording now because Sony Music is trying to hit me with a DMCA because I accidentally recorded a song. I'm like,
Yeah,
get fucked.
and then Disney.
Oh, so lame.
Yeah, I'm gonna fight it.
So stupid.
Like they want my info. I'm like, no, you're not entitled to that. Like they're not entitled to it. If you fight a DMCA, they aren't actually entitled to your private information.
Nice.
Filed it, Sony or
Yeah, it was Sony. Like everybody else has dropped their claims, you know, but Sony's like gonna keep their claim up. I'm like, go ahead.
keep
Incidental
failing
recording.
it, or are you gonna
I'm gonna fight it, but it's the
fix it?
because incidental recording, like I can't do anything about that. If somebody drives by with a copyrighted song while you're recording something, what are you supposed to do?
I have no idea.
Buddy, sorry, my baby's gonna come and be on the stream, you guys.
Aw.
Okay.
Hitsu asked, do you want me to join, or are you guys good?
Hi.
Aw.
He's like, ooh, we're talking.
More than welcome to join if that's okay with you, Base Mama.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh wait.
It would help if I knew what I was doing. Copy message, text.
Okay.
My tummy hurts. That was obviously very important information.
Okay, so let's see. I
thought I was on erotic poems, but I'm just back to pussy farts. All right.
Okay.
Go ahead, Vulcan.
I know. I'm kind of the one who got her on that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's totally your fault.
You know.
It is absolutely your fault. It's because you pulled up that article about feminist, what is it, lesbian queer feminist slam poetry or something, and then I pulled some up and we made Seeps come on and read it in his weird Tim Curry voice.
And then she finds deep underground poetry, and that's what doing ever since.
Well, because like the next time that I hung out with him was on his birthday stream, and he was like, you have to read me some poetry because I read you the poetry, and I was like, oh, fuck you. And he's like, no. He's like, you need to find some, and I was like, fine. So I Googled it, and I found one that was like extremely sexual and like very much from like the woman's point of view to the man. So she was like writing to her boyfriend, and I was like, I just want to read you this birthday poem. And I read it in this really like seductive voice. And he was so drunk. And then everybody else was like, where are you getting that? So I sent him the link, and then it just became a thing where everybody just reads deep underground poetry on every stream I'm on. Actually, the stream that I was on just now wasn't, because it was the play. So I guess that just evolved on its own, but there was no poetry to be read.
Oh yeah, you tell him.
Hi, Hitsugi.
Hi.
Hey, Hitsu.
Hi.
Hi, Hitsu. My baby's gonna talk, by the way.
It's fine.
Aww.
I'm just so done with homework that I gotta get this done. Hi.
Hi, what are you doing? How old is he?
He's 11 months. He'll be a year this month.
Aww.
Oh.
He's a December baby. Is he Sagittarius also?
Mhm.
Mm.
Your birthday's probably coming up.
I was born on World AIDS Day, so I know the struggle.
Oh, he's a November baby.
Oh, he's a November. Is he after the? He's after the 22nd. So he's still a
Yes.
he's still a Sagittarius. Nice.
Yeah.
We'll get along just fine. I was born on December 1st, which also happens to coincide with World AIDS Day. So
That's wonderful. See,
I
my
get
mom's
to
birthday is
be an AIDS.
September 11th.
Oh,
So, like, she totally feels your pain. Like, she never wants to celebrate her birthday now. Like, ever. She's
I
like, ugh, I
I
hate
just
this
think
day.
it's hysterical, and I go out and I tell everybody I'm an AIDS baby, and they're like, "What?"
Oh.
Yeah. I own the shame. Like at work the other day, some kid got poop in my hair, and so like,
Lovely.
yeah, they're very troubled. So then I had to shampoo it. They had shampoo in a cabinet, so I took some shampoo from them and then washed my hair in the sink. And so everyone was like, "Why is your hair wet?" And I was like, "Oh, this kid got poop in my hair." And they're like, "Oh man, that sucks." And I'm like, "No, it's cool. I got a new nickname." And they're like, "What's your new nickname?" And I'm like, "Shithead." So I don't know. You have to have a sense of humor about things when they happen to you. There's just no other way around it. So if I'm going to be a shithead AIDS baby, that's just what's going to happen.
Okay.
And just so
Do
you
you have
know,
an article?
sorry, I was gonna say, just so you know,
I found some friends.
We interrupt each other on these streams. It's fine.
No, I was just gonna say, just so that everybody knows, if I don't respond right away, it's because I'm eating toast and I want to mute myself so I don't do crunch, 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 crunch on my end.
Crunch on stream.
Yeah, I don't want to be rude and crunch on your stream, sir.
Were you also drunk on that stream?
No, I'm just always crazy.
Oh man, I had to eat so much bread afterwards. I was like, I need to soak this up.
No, I just eat a lot of toast because it's just simple to make, and it's like, I don't feel like cooking right now.
Yeah. Let's get to this article. Are you familiar with 1 Million Moms?
Oh my god, are those the anti-gun chicks?
They're like anti everything.
No.
They're actually hysterical.
Reading version of everyday feminism.
Oh, barf. I'm sorry. I don't like ideological mommying. It's like, you know what? You can't be rigid with kids because kids are all different. They're all weird. They all have their own little perspectives. You can't you can't parent from an ideological standpoint, or all you're going to do is make kids that hate your ideology.
Can I have your kids in my class?
My kids would make your life hell, trust me. They'd be like, "Oh, someone new to torture." My kids are very shit posty.
You should. I can deal with that. The kids that I have put shit in my hair, so
It's apparently
I have a very special group of children who I love and adore, but also at times do not.
Well, anyways, let's see.
Right,
so,
oh god, let's do this.
Most of it's
like
the parents though. Like
that's
the worst. Like the kids you can deal with because they're kids, so you're like, oh, they're being assholes, but they're kids. When their parents come in and they're like, freaking out, and you're like, what seems to be the problem? And they're like, why is my child getting such low marks? And you're like, because they can't do any of the work. They refuse to do the work. They spent the entire day throwing a tantrum, so they did not get a good score. Well, that's not my fault. No one said it was. But okay. Well, I feel like you're telling me I'm a bad parent. That's not what I'm telling you. But okay. You're a racist. Oh. Okay. That's my life.
Let's see, anyways.
It's just, yeah, let's get into this because, goddamn, I already hate it. Like, I already hate it. But okay, let's go.
So, first off, are you familiar with this show called Teachers? Anyone here? Something on
Yeah, isn't that
TV
like a show
Land?
on TBS or
I
something?
don't watch TV.
I really don't watch TV except RuPaul's Drag Race and Steven Universe. Yes, I'm a normie fag.
We already knew that, thank you.
I'm also a weeb, but I'm sure you already knew that too.
Obvious from your name. So let's see. TV Land continues to air the Vile program Teachers on Tuesday evenings at 10 Standard Time, which is probably around the time most kids would be sent to bed.
All of these happen like after a normal bedtime, and they flip. Like they can't handle it.
Oh, but previews air much earlier in the evening when children are likely watching TV, which begs the question, what kids are watching TV Land?
When I was a kid growing up, the only time we watched TV Land was when my mom was like, "You guys would really like this," and it'd be like Gilligan's Island or like Mr. Ed, and my sister and I'd be like, "Ugh."
Like, usually I'd be watching things on other channels, not... The vulgar advertisements for teachers are airing during shows such as the Andy Griffin Show and other family programs. The previews alone are... that is extremely disturbing since it involves a young cast. If the promos are this bad, then obviously the suitable for TV. That's a logical progression.
I mean,
Apparently,
nobody complained about Blood Drive on Sci-Fi, and that show was disgusting.
I
It's
will
my
say this
favorite.
too. They are very particular about the shows they choose to complain about. Talking about a show that airs this late, they clearly for specific shows, and there are probably other shows they could go after. Be more sensible, I guess. Also, this consistently comes like these moms are bad parents who are raising their children through the TV. It's anyone still here or?
Yeah, sorry, my sister popped in with like 60 dogs, so.
I'm
Sorry, I'm still listening. Just have toast in my mouth.
listening.
Oh. I didn't hear anyone else, so I
No.
was wondering what happened.
No, we didn't abandon you, I promise.
No. You wouldn't do that. It's almost impossible to describe the depth of depravity found in the TV Land sitcom Teachers. Every scene is filled with sexual innuendos, implications, or encounters. Sounds like it's a program that's aimed at an older audience.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of the problems that these women have are like with TV shows that are not geared toward children, but that they're more upset that there are children in the cast, which is a parent's choice. You know, like whatever
Yeah.
child has a parent who decided that this was okay. So they're just taking away the parental autonomy. I
Yeah.
don't believe in raising children by community. I think that's a parent's job. And once, like, I mean, even with what I do, like, I don't feel like stepping into
Interfere with a show. I mean, a parent's job, unless it may involve something that might be
yeah,
harming the kids.
I mean, even to the point where, like, some of the kids that I have don't do well with shoes that tie because it just bothers their feet or their sensory issues or whatever's going on. And I don't feel comfortable telling a parent, you must buy your child a shoe that does not tie. You know what I mean? Like, it's not really my place. That's the parent's decision. I can say, these are things that I observed and this might be helpful, but it's not my place to say. Yeah, it's not my place to tell somebody's mother, father, this is how you should raise your kid. I can say, like, this might help you out. If, like, a parent comes to me and says, my kid's having a lot of tantrums at home, what do I do? I might give them a suggestion, but I can't prescribe to them, like, what you should do with your child. Like, I'm not raising your child, that's your child. So I can give you some helpful tips. I can tell you what I do in the classroom, but I'm not going to, if you ask. If you don't ask, I'm not going to say anything to you. But I'm also not going to say, like, oh, you absolutely have to do this, this, and this. Because some methods don't work for other people. And so if somebody's mother, father says that this script is appropriate for their child and they want them to be part of the cast, I'm not going to say no. Like, I'm not going to be like, I don't know, The Exorcist is a little bit rough. Are you sure you want your child to be involved with this? That's really your choice as a parent. I'm not going to take away your parental autonomy.
Like, my kids are really into, like, gore zombie shit, But they're not dumb. They understand that, shit on TV is not shit in real life.
Yeah.
Because they're not stupid.
Okay, so...
But I don't let them, like, see, like, I do, I don't know, I wouldn't say I shelter them. It's just, like, they're not prepared for sexuality yet. So I try to avoid it if I can. But they're kids. They're going to hear shit from, other kids they go to school with. They ask you weird questions, too. Like, you get the, like, what is sex? I'm like, oh, that's when a mommy and daddy love each other and they give each other such a big hug and their hearts get so full of love that they make a baby. And because I'm technically telling my 6-year-old the truth. Sex is how babies are made. But he's a little too young to really, like, be told about
all the thrusting.
And he doesn't care because he's 6. He's just
you don't want to thrust your children into the world of sexuality like everyone else.
Yes.
No, I mean, I'm not one of those people that really likes to damage my children's healthy growth and development and sexuality by introducing
so basically you're a normal parent.
Concepts to them at an early age, because that actually this is why I don't like the pushing the transgender thing and the sexuality thing on kids, because there's a lot of evidence that shows that this kind of teaching of kids has the same detrimental impact as child sex abuse.
Yes.
You're introducing sexual concepts at far too young an age, and you're causing them a great level of conflict about themselves and their bodies and their sexuality, and they're going to be more likely to engage in risky sexual behavior as a way to control but also conform to what they think is correct.
Okay.
Don't do this.
Right.
Sorry, we're talking about some shitty show.
Vulcan, what's up?
Your opinion. What's your thoughts of kids' channels having, like, gay characters in them?
I'm not against it. My thing is, as long as they don't try to shoehorn it in, because, like, in this day and age, you're going to see a lot more couples, same-sex couples with kids, and just to simple explanation
Yeah.
of just like, hey, this, you're gonna see this, it's cool, all right, okay, cool.
The problem with 90% of society, there's 10% of society that understands that children are children, and there's 90% of a society that says children think like adults, so I'm going to ascribe adult ideas to children. In that 90%, you have pedophiles who will say that child was dancing in a way that was sexual. And you're like, no, that child was shaking their booty or doing, you know, the song was on and it was like, shake your booty. And they were like, okay. They weren't being sexy. They were doing what the song told them to do. But there's a greater, broader part of society that also thinks this way. And you have things like queer kid stuff that's on that is like, this is how you teach consent to a child. It's
Why
if you
don't
want to
wanna
hug
teach
someone,
consent to a child. Why this is
well,
I
you
fucking
do,
hate that.
but there's a way to do it. And the way that
The way to do it is
my
not
body
ask
is
permission.
mine. My body is mine, and you can't touch it. That's the way to do it. That's how you teach
Yeah,
consent.
you don't
I have
groom
body
them for
autonomy.
pedophiles.
Right. And
Oh.
the proper way to teach consent is stop, don't touch me there. This is my no-no square. And I have the right to tell you, you can't touch me. And that's all you say to them. They understand what's a good touch and what's a bad touch. They also understand if they don't want to be touched, then they don't have to be touched. A lot of the children that I get are sexually abused. The first thing that I do when they are upset or stressed is I ask them if I can put my hands on them. I won't tell them I'm going to put my hands on them. I'll say, do you need a back rub? Or do you need a hand on your shoulder? Or do you need a hug? Is it okay if I do this? Is it okay if I do that? Because they need to know that they have the autonomy to tell me, stop, I don't feel comfortable.
Mhm.
So the most important thing you can do with a child with consent is tell them they have a right to say no. You don't have to tell them that they also have a right to say yes. The way that Queer Kid Stuff posed this was, it's just like sharing a toy. It is not like sharing a toy. That is your body. It's not like, here's your teddy bear, and some friends share teddy bears between each other. And so if somebody asks you for your teddy bear, you can say, yes, you can have this. If somebody asks you for a hug, you can say, sure. Absolutely not. The answer is no. This is my body. If somebody asks you, you know, do you need a hug? Like, what do you need? Do you need a hug? Do you want a hug? How do you feel? What can I do? How can I help you? Your answer can be no, and that's okay. There are no consequences for that. And the hardest thing to do with children who are sexually abused is to say to them, what do you need? How can I help you? I mean, I have kids that like you can't even touch them. You just stand there, they're shaking in a corner, and you're like, all you want to do is, you know, grab them up in your arms and hold them and never let them go because you're like, I feel terrible for you.
Mhm.
But if you touch them, you destroy them. So you're like, how can I help you? What can I do? If I put my hand here, is that okay? Do you want my hand on your shoulder? Do you want to hold my hand? How can I make this better? What can I do? Do you want a tissue? And even handing them a tissue sometimes is a threatening thing for them. So you have to like give them the option, you know, and the option is always no. The option is never yes. Kids don't need to be told, yes, you can do this. Yes, if a stranger asks you for a hug, you can tell them yes because you have the option. No, you don't. The option is no. Some stranger comes to you and says, I want to give you a hug. You say, stop. This is my body. That's how you teach consent. So like majority of people are like, oh, kids can understand that concept. No, they can't. And that's how kids get hurt. So why are you ascribing adult ideology to children who don't understand that, especially when an adult is the authority figure, even a strange adult? Like, this is somebody who's older than me. I'm supposed to listen to them. I keep getting told I have to listen to them. I have to respect them. I have to do this. They're asking me to sit on their lap. I don't feel comfortable. I don't know what to do. The answer is no.
Yeah, you have to teach, like, you can't shelter your kids. Like, you have to prepare them. Like, I was abused as a kid, so my kids, you know, I try not to go, like, overboard and be, like, hyper paranoid. That's probably the hardest part of it. But, like, when you're dealing with kids who've been sexually abused, they need to be in, like, total control of their body. like that's why it's like you were saying, like you can't just go touch them or go, I'm gonna touch you. Like you're not giving them the option. You have
Right.
to ask them because their body has been out of their control in really terrifying ways. So everything needs to be like in their purview, like under
Yep.
their direct command, because that's the like a lot of people that have been sexually abused grow up, to become, they engage in really risky sexual behavior, but that's not because they don't like themselves or whatever, but that's their way of like taking control of their sexuality again.
Right.
And if you can give them
Okay.
the opportunity to maintain bodily autonomy before that, then they're unlikely to engage in that kind of behavior.
Correct.
But yeah, you're right. Like don't just like don't put your hands on a kid who's freaking out.
Right. And you
That's never a good
can't give
idea.
them the option. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't give them the option of you can say yes or you can say no. The option when you put it to them always has to be, you can't say it's okay if you answer me in one way or the other because they're always going to answer you yes. Kids by nature want to please you. They want to make you feel good. They want you to be happy. They want to exist. I mean, every now and then they'll push back or whatever, but for the most part, all they want is for somebody to love them and care about them and treat them with the dignity and respect that they deserve.
Mm.
So the first thing that they're going to do when you ask them a question is tell you that it's okay. And you have to reinforce with those kids, it is not okay. If you feel uncomfortable, it is not okay, and you tell me, and I will not touch you. If you're upset and you don't want me to touch you, you let me know what you need. If you just need space, you say, I need space, I need my bubble, and I'm going to walk away from you. It's just,
Yeah.
but it's hard. I mean, and it's, everybody wants to invade a child's space. I mean, even if you think about when you have an infant and everybody sees the infant, they all want to get up by the carriage. Oh, look at how cute the baby is. Now I want to touch it and play with it. That's a person. And that's a person who has a bubble. And yeah, they're an infant and maybe they're not 100% aware of what their bubble is, but you should never be in somebody's space. You should never encroach on someone, and especially toddlers. You see it all the time in the grocery store. Oh, they're so cute. And people move in instantly to a child. And you're like, you should never move in on a child.
You scare the shit out of them and make them cry.
Because then the kid's got like these huge eyes and they're like, this stranger's coming at me. I don't know what's happening. Where is my mom? Like, what's going on?
I never approach people's kids. Like if they notice me, I just sort of like, smile
Wave or
and wave
something.
at
Yeah.
them. And they're like, oh, hi, a grown up, talk to me. Hi, grown up. Like they get really excited about it. But if you take a step, they're like, whatcha, get away.
Yeah, they have a little defense, but people don't respect the boundaries that kids put up. And when you have people like, Lindsay out there telling everyone, oh, it's okay, kids know about consent. They don't have any fucking clue about consent. They don't know about yes and no and what's okay and what's not okay. Because if the minute that you put into a kid's head that it is okay for an adult to touch them, then it becomes a rule. Oh, well, this is an adult, so they're allowed to touch me. No.
Right.
They're not allowed to touch you. That is not okay. It is never okay. Why would you even put that in a child's head? Like, the answer is no. This is my body. This is my space. If I have my body here and my space here, you need to respect that. And most kids are pretty affectionate once they get to know you and they'll come crawl in your lap and they invade your space. That's a little bit different. They don't have that boundary set system yet, then a full-grown adult encroaching on a child. Like that's like icky to me. I hate I hate when I see that in the grocery store or whatever. It's usually like little old ladies and I'm like, they don't want you. Go away.
Well, some kids are more personable than others. Like
Right.
there are really outgoing kids, and then, but for the most part, because of just their survival mechanism, babies and toddlers are going to be very like, don't touch me. You're not my mom. Don't touch me. That's why they cry for their mom, because it's a survival mechanism. They're unfamiliar with you, and that is the safe space is by mom. So that's what they do.
Okay.
Oh, We got way off topic. I apologize. We should.
It's usually what happens. It's fine.
This is what happens usually. This is often what happens, something that's related to kids. But anyways,
Yeah. You had to bring a million moms into it.
yeah, and sadly, this isn't the last kid-related thing I have. Teaching is an honorable profession, but oftentimes a thankless job. Educators not belittle, mock, or bring them down as TV Land is doing. That's exactly what teachers want, a bunch of whining crybabies supporting them.
Yeah, that's what I want.
I just got asked, are there a lot of black people in Japan? And it's like, not really.
Well, there are a lot of African workers in Japan.
Well, I mean, yeah, and there's like military men, like, you know, my parents are in Yokosuka, so you see some, you know, like sailor walk by, and it's like, oh, hey, yeah, okay. And you just keep going, so, yeah. That's just a random question of the day. Are there a lot of black people in Japan? Not really.
What?
I mean, you never know. That is a good question. I wouldn't know.
I mean, yeah, like, it's like
Either that or some Asian people who stayed in the sun too long.
Somebody was
There
making
you
a point in their video, like, because I can't remember who it was. Riley Dennis was saying something about, you know, you never say white people, and they were like, yeah, because that's the majority. It's not like in Asia you'd be like, oh, is this Asian guy? Like, I was like, that's actually a really smart point. But anyway, I would have no idea if there were black people in Japan. I'm sure there are some, but
Okay. Well, that was
demographically, I
an
have no idea.
interesting sidetrack.
Okay, sorry about that. Are there any black people in Japan? Keep going.
Well, it's almost over. It's encouraging crude dialogue, offensive gestures at school, teachers being cruel to their young children, and questioning authority. Crude dialogue, offensive gestures at school, and being cruel to kids. That's totally something teachers are going to do. I have no idea. Honestly, after a point, all these like articles run together, and you're basically refuting the same thing over and over.
Every time there's a show on, they write an article like this. It's the same shit.
Still here, or
Well, it seems like what they're complaining about is that the ads for the show run earlier than the 10 o'clock time slot. It's like, duh. And that there's sexual innuendo. Kids don't pick up much on sexual innuendo because they're kids and they don't think about it. I don't know, like, have you ever watched a movie you watched when you were a kid and then you watch it as an adult and you're like, holy shit, I can't believe my parents let me watch this?
Yeah.
Because your parents knew that you didn't think like a fucking adult.
That's the thing. Like, everybody ascribes adult ideas to children, and it's so much of the population, and you're like, kids don't do that. Like, they just have no concept of that.
okay, well, that's the end of that article.
Sorry, killed it, Vulcan.
Technically, that was more of Hitsugi than you.
What?
You know, bringing up this random question: are there black people in Japan?
That little bit. Most of the population is, of course, you know, Japanese, and then Chinese, and then Korean, and then white, and then black. So
Yeah.
And they are
Basically found
racist
one
to
of them.
everybody.
Funny how the last stream happened the same way, where we somehow got into a racist tangent about in Asia eat cats, was it?
Yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Really
Kids.
undervalue women.
Yeah.
Did I
Like,
do
see
something to you
my
personally, Vulcan? Have I offended you in some way that you feel that this torture is something that I did?
from my tabs up here. It's not the last one.
Mm, okay.
He just knows you have kids, so he thought he would try to be interesting.
Try to be inclusive of parents by showing me the worst people in the world who should never ever breed.
The worst
Yeah.
parents ever.
It's not like I don't do this with Ali every week.
Progressive spouses don't divide burdens equitably. The children notice. What about stay-at-home dads? I'm going to tell you something that people don't want you to know. Stay-at-home
myth.
dads actually keep the house cleaner, more organized, and keep a more rigorous schedule than mothers do.
Did not know that.
Which is healthier for children because routine is so important.
The weirdest thing is there's a huge advantage in households with two parents, followed by single dads, followed by single moms.
I know moms.
Throwing it out there. So like in a lot of the households with single dads, the children tend to do better emotionally and academically. So you hear all this shit about toxic masculinity and how terrible it is, but you look at the statistics and it's actually so important that a father is present in a child's life. Because in the two instances where the fathers are involved, you're seeing better progress, better rounded children.
Mhm.
Women are fucking crazy.
Like, is
Yeah.
that like when the kid tends to be younger, or is that like throughout their life?
Throughout their life. Yeah.
Because my dad actually got kicked out of the house after
I mean, there's going to be exceptions to every rule. But statistics are based on averages
statistics.
and total population. There are going to be people who have shitty dads who are not contributing,
Yeah.
and moms who are really fucking awesome. So, like, you know, I mean, it's a give and take. So it's not like, but the average overall is that it is super important to have a father, but it is not necessarily as important to have a mom. Which, again, is a fallacy because you're looking at it's still very important to have both parents involved.
I agree.
But, you know,
My dad for 2 years now.
I think a lot of the reason is fathers tend to be a little bit more strict, especially mothers when they're working. They tend to get very overwhelmed, whereas it's almost like an expectation that that's what you're going to do if you're a dad. So going into being a single dad, you're almost like resigned to the fact that you're going to have to work and do all this other stuff. Whereas with a mom trying to get a career, that's not necessarily the exact makeup, and there's a lot of other stressors that goes into that as well. And women tend to not handle it emotionally as well as men do, and that's a hormone balance thing, and we get into the psychology of it, but it's, you know, not a male female, and again, that's a law of average. There are going to be women who are strong as fuck and men who are a goddamn disaster. So like laws of averages, pick and choose. There's an excellent
Yeah.
book out there called How to Lie with Statistics, and any of the statistics you pull, you can look at with a grain of salt. But that is the prevailing thought.
I think someone I've watched before says people are not numbers.
Yeah.
But it.
I mean, they kind of are, but
So you know what, Base Mom? I will be somewhat kind. I have 2 parent-based articles about apparently parents harming their kids, and another one saying ban parents. Which one do you want?
Oh, let's hear the banned parents one. I want to see where Lord of the Flies will take us.
Let's see if in the right direction. And oh, and it's Chagrin in the chat.
oh, Shaggy. There's another mom.
I gotta get going. Sorry. I got things to do.
Oh. Okay.
Oh.
Well, thank you for stopping by.
Yeah, thanks
Nope.
for popping in.
No problem. I'll talk to you guys later.
See ya.
Wait, was that Base
Yeah.
Mama talking, or was that
That's
That
me.
was-
It's
No, that's
Hitsugu. I'm
Hitsu.
not actually looking at the stream.
It's me, Hitsugi.
He's not paying attention. You guys just sound so much alike.
That's
If you could see the face I'm making right now, you'd know that that was not accurate.
okay, good. Because I was about to
I'm
say,
not paying
like,
attention.
there's not a lot of people who sound like me. I have the dorkiest voice ever. All right.
Oh,
We love you, Weeboo.
Thank you. Love you too. Arigatou gozaimasu and all that shit. All right. I gotta go.
Domo
See you later.
arigato, Mr. Roboto.
Bye.
yeah.
Ban week, ban parents. Oh my god. Yes.
Let's ban parents. Apparently, can I just point out that these 2 look like Roy and Lacey?
You can.
I mean, with the beard and stuff.
Just send them that picture and tell them. I triple dog dare you.
Okay, let's see. Let's see. Where do I? Okay. Oh, great. There's no share image, so we're gonna have to be challenging. And dang
Burning it
matter.
all down. What? I feel like like when people who write for places that are just everything just bothers them. They're like, oh no, IKEA says that there's this piece and it's called this and that's a female name and it should be a male name or it should be this or it should be that or why do they have to be gendered or whatever, and they get all fucking nuts about that shit, and then they say things like I'm gonna burn it all down. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. That's not happening. you could try until you run into somebody like me and I'm like, you're a fucking idiot, and then you're like, that blonde girl with the big tits called me an idiot.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Going for it. In the meantime, I think we could use some poetry, Allie.
This one is called Fingerfish Her Tush. And it is written by Again. Oh man, this is the guy that uses all the M's. Well, nowadays, gals want more guys with them to play so that they can brag off. See, 10 guys fucked me. When someone may ask, she will say last week. Wow, maybe 10 have never done it to me in a lifetime. Did you not shave your bush? She'd question. Now, when gals see each other without a tush, hush, hush, we instantly, lips rush. And penis feelings we both get in turn. 69 is lesbian's return. To have malish fun, and all the gals join in the cum. Again, a sick son of a gun. Why doesn't he want us to have our kind of lesbianic fun? Fuck his gun, now he can come.
It
The
is.
end. That didn't have anything to do with butts. I'm very
That was
upset.
awful.
Yeah. They get worse.
Most of them are.
I mean, I could always reread Pussy Farts. That's a fan favorite.
God, gross.
This one's called Soapin' in the Shower, and it's written by 8 more. We have deemed it Pussy Farts.
I told you, Base Mama, you're not going to leave this stream with any innocence left.
Like, this is why I think you like to torture me. Like, you're showing me articles about bad parents, and then on top of it, you're like embarrassing me. This is like when Tim made me read fucking Slash Fic for his birthday, and I'm like, my kids aren't even in the house, and I'm in my bedroom closet, like covering up the microphone and hiding in my jacket in the dark, reading this shit because I'm like so paranoid that somebody's gonna hear me say the P word, and I can't. Like, I swear a lot in my like videos and stuff and online, but like in real life, I really don't talk like that.
You're so cute, and I want to take you home.
I'm like, oh God, I hate myself. But yeah, I talk a big game, but like, I'm not kidding you. Oh my God, if I had to like at VidCon, I saw other people's underwear, and I was like, oh my God, I've seen his underwear now. Like, I'm stripped of innocence. We can never like make eye contact again. It's over.
You are
So dumb.
the most adorable. Ugh.
God.
You are.
The best.
Stop.
I'm like, I'm hard, I swear.
That's what she said.
I'm like
Actually, that's what he said.
I'm like the female version of creamy seepage.
Oh God.
Yeah. We get along really well.
Let's see.
All right.
What is lace? We'll get back to the poetry and I'll take care of this.
Okay. I was soaping in the shower. My right hand held my wood. The shower curtain opened, and beside me there you stood. You were naked as a jaybird. These memorable words I heard. You say, it's time for you to eat my pussy, or I'm leaving you today. Needless to say, I was confused. Is there a choice for me? I would love to eat your pussy, and I dropped down on my knee. Your pussy right there in my face, I spread your lips to see, your clitoris swollen and hard and firm right there in front of me. This is like Raven quality stuff. I flicked it with the tip of my tongue, sucked it between my lips. You pushed my head with pleasure to shove it deep between your hips. You spread your legs for access to the chasm hidden there. I sucked it while I plunged my tongue in that hole that has no hair. My fingers moved to spread the lips. I licked you up and down. I felt those good vibrations. You had come with just one round. It was time for no more eating. It was fucking now I chose. I had a hard dick for you to replace my tongue and nose. I stood and bent you over, and I think you lost your mind when I buried my cock fully in your pussy from behind. The sound of wet balls smacking on your ass with cheeks apart, my cock was moving rapidly, and I heard your pussy fart. The wetness of the shower brought the noise with every stroke. Had both our faces smiling, there was a fart with every poke. The sound was humor to my ears. I heard the poot poot pootin' cooter as the gas was coming out around my 6-inch semen shooter. We fucked away the gases, finally stroked them out. Sometimes farting in the shower is what wet pussy is about. When we were all finished, when our coming was all done, we washed away what had escaped. Now I've written of the fun.
I hate this.
You didn't laugh during the one part this time.
No, I've read this so many times I can actually get through it without laughing.
You okay, Base Mama?
I made Steeps read some Norwegian fart poetry the other night.
So like I'm so disturbed by this. I don't even know what to say. Like I'm like unresponsive.
It is horrendous, and there are some on there that like they rewrote. Actually, I'm gonna have a medal off in December, where two people are gonna write a song to the tune of "She'll Be Coming Round the Mountain" called "She'll Be Coming Like a Fountain," and the lyrics are already written, but they're gonna put it like you remember Korn did a bunch of like metal lullabies, so they're gonna kind of do that. Each one of them is doing their own version of whatever metal, and we're gonna have a medal off. But yeah, there's definitely more than one where they've taken like cute little children's songs and turned them into utter shit shows.
All right, let's just read this fucking article. Like, I'm so conflicted in so many ways right now. Let's just fucking do it.
Base Mama's gonna hate him.
I hate you right now. Like I love
Nobody
hate you.
hates
I love you because you're
Vulcan.
Emperor, but God, I hate you for this. All right, just let's read it and react. God, I fucking hate this shit. All right, go.
Okay. Welcome to Ban Week, in which Splinter writers will build a case for it down. All right, that is a strange thing to be looking forward to every year.
It's like
these
Shark
people
Week,
like
but for assholes.
They're not participating in this.
Womp womp. I have other things to do.
Well, anyways, there's something deeply and fundamentally wrong with how our society raises children. Current state of things, kids are reared, fed, taught, and disciplined by parents who may or may not be good parents, and in some cases have a great deal of external obligations and emotional needs that take them away from the work of. So basically, how parenting has been for thousands of years.
See, they want to raise the kids by community, and it's just, we're not the Borg.
Like,
We saw how well that worked out.
Yeah, you don't want to raise kids in a community, then they don't know who their parents are, and they lack boundaries and comprehension.
They're assholes.
Of the world around them.
They write articles like this.
Happy ending. But anyways, these adults have unequal access to key resources like wealth, time, housing, and education. So basically, I'm guessing they're referring to women. Is when they say these adults.
This seems like a low income versus high income.
Okay,
the 99%
I wasn't sure if
versus the
saying,
1%.
Because women earn less for the dollar than men, that means that they have unequal access to key resources.
No, I think this is a low or high income, which actually, spoiler alert, there are tons of community programs and school programs and things that you can do for free that give you key access to those resources and things that you need in order to become a better parent if you want. There are free parenting classes in most communities. There are places that will help you to get food and other essentials for school. They run all kinds of drives, and there are definitely ways to make sure that you have everything you need, and the community in the area will typically have places for you to go to take care of that. So a lot of that is just a lack of willingness and want.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got distracted by something in the chat. Let's see. Which tend to be reproduced by children under their supervision. Like, often if a kid is born into poor parents, they're not going to be the most rich people in the world. Great job, Splinter. You probably would do better going after the turtles than doing this.
There are free choice schools. There is Medicaid that provides access to therapies and other things that you can get for free for your child. There are hospitals and there are places like the CDC and your local healthcare clinics, as well as clinics run by the state and local governments where you can get vaccinations and healthcare. There are places where you can get food, and there are ways and opportunities to get enough money to provide for your children. Again, there's plenty of opportunity. There's just not a lot of people who are willing to take advantage of that. I mean, up to and including there are places like churches or synagogues or mosques or whatever who will hire people at a low income or at a disadvantage to do menial tasks around and work with them on when their children are there or not. But a lot of people just won't turn up and ask. And yeah. So I mean, like I have a very low tolerance for people who are like, there's nothing for me. When it's like, okay, I work in a low income school. I get pamphlets all the time. I get people who are constantly saying, you know, like, hey, we got a billion pairs of sneakers. Let me know which kids need sneakers, what sizes they are, we'll send them to you. And the parents are like, no, we don't need that. Okay. If you don't need it, then fine. And then 2 weeks later, they're like, my kids don't have shoes. And I'm like, well, I just told the guy that you didn't need them. So, you know, what do you want? So there's like, there's a severe disconnect.
This country is governed by a lottery system. We call it a nuclear family.
Nuclear family, yeah. Parents and kids in one house.
Lottery system part.
Yeah, I guess you're just lucky if your parents, you know, only fuck each other. I don't know.
You're lucky if your parents don't turn out to be serial killers or misogynists or whatever.
A lottery system we call the nuclear oh God. You know, yes, because you never know who you're going to end up with, and you might end up with somebody and it might not be a great fit. But I mean, what should we go back to arranged marriages or like?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
like
the answer. This is the answer.
Should we go back? I mean, like, what do you do? Like, should we just go to, like, you know, one person walks into a sperm bank and gets milked, and the other person walks into a sperm bank and gets filled, and 9 months later there's a baby, and that baby is then put in the hospital to be raised by the collective? That's the other solution? Is that going to happen?
Doctor.
Yeah, like, no, people can't have sex anymore. It's not okay. We saw what happened on Krypton. It didn't work. They sent Superman to Earth. It was a big nightmare. Zod is now somewhere in space.
It's a big goddamn mess when you do that.
Let's see. The nuclear family is an ideology that has largely evaded public debate because it's so thoroughly embedded in our lives, because it works. Scholars or policy experts bother to debate it, at least in an ideal way to life, because its appeal is largely taken it for granted. At the same time, the nuclear family is so intrinsically particular. You can belong to only one. Is treated immune to critique. How dare you criticize my family? I love my family.
What? That makes no fucking sense.
I-
There are less nuclear
I don't know.
families than there are any other type of family because people can't fucking stick together. Like a broken home is no longer a nuclear family.
Correct.
Yeah.
I hate. Okay, go on.
The thing is that
I'm gonna have a stroke.
they extend it now. So they've changed the definition of nuclear family to include divorced couples. So like you can have a secondary nuclear family. So you'd have a primary nuclear family, which is mom and dad, baby. And then a secondary nuclear family is mom's stepdad, baby, and dad's stepmom, baby.
No.
Which doesn't, because it's an entirely different concept. But they're like, no, you live in a nuclear family. No, that's not really
Only
accurate.
if that nuclear family like mutated.
Yeah, you have
Maybe they were.
you have nuclear families,
Nuclear
and then you have
family.
nuclear Holocaust families, which are totally different.
They're like nuclear zombie families or whatever. I don't
Yeah,
Chern-
it's basically-
Chernobyl
that's
doesn't
what-
count.
The
but-
hills have eyes. It's
yeah.
not a nuclear family. I feel like I should point that out.
I just like, I had a debate with somebody on Twitter too about the nuclear family, and they're like, nuclear family isn't a thing. It's not a social construct. And I'm like, it's actually exactly a social construct.
Oh yeah, because before, well, the reason it's called a nuclear family is because this is a type of family that came out of the nuclear era.
Right.
Like my grandparents grew up with their grandparents in the house.
Right.
Like you lived with your aunt or whatever. Like if you had, a spinster auntie, she lived with you.
Well, and like a lot of ethnic groups still do that. Like, Jewish families stay together with the older family members.
Right.
A lot of the time. Italians are kind of similar. So like a lot of smaller ethnic groups do that. And then they're like, this isn't a nuclear family because you don't live just with your immediate family. You live with extended family. Correct. Oh, but you're still living under the nuclear family. Like, it's like, don't extend the definition of what has already been defined.
Yeah, but then it would be like a pre-nuclear family if you were living like in multiple generations. And if it's a divorced family, then it would be a postmodern or post-nuclear family.
And that was the argument for migrants here, actually. They were like, they're only allowing people in what they consider a nuclear family to come here, but they don't live in just nuclear families. Well, yeah, that's because you can't bring your cousin, uncle, uncle's 6 wives, grandma, grandpa. Like they're saying mom, dad, and kids needing shelter can come here as refugees. They're not extending that to every branch of the family. It's too much. It's too much of a burden. And then that was a huge criticism on that. And it's like, but you could literally bring anyone. Like my cousins, brothers, wives, husbands. Like, what even are you at? Like at this point, like your ex-husband's kid, who is actually 35, is also coming with us. And you're like, wait a minute, how are they related to you? Well, they're not actually blood related, but they are in my family. And you're like, what? Okay. And then he ends up blowing something up. Who's responsible?
No.
Like, I mean, like, you can't extend that offer of protection beyond what your borders and your country is capable of doing. You can't just say, yeah, you and every single person you know can come with you. So like, just bring your entire village. It's fine. There's too much of a burden for that. I mean, even when you're looking at refugees from Cuba, there were special allowances for them coming into Florida, which is that if they made it to the coast without the Coast Guard catching them, they could stay. And every now and then the Coast Guard would have to stop whoever was coming in. So for the most part, they were like, all right, let them go because we know the situation's really bad. But at some point it was like, okay, we're overburdened. We can't do that anymore. And then the Coast Guard would pick them up and turn them away. You can't overburden a society like that. It's not going to work. It's not going to make any sense to do so.
Yeah. Okay, so it doesn't have to be the way of a nuclear family. It's collectively by people whose full-time occupation is parenting. We could raise them in groups of 10 so that no children would be the only child or ever lack friendship. Regardless of disability, race, ethnicity, or gender, a safe and happy up. Okay.
Clearly, this retard has never read Utopia, because that shit don't work out.
No.
And I'll be goddamned if I'm gonna let somebody else raise my kids. Like, I don't even like letting my kids be babysat by like grandparents. I'm like, I know you're fucking giving them sugar, aren't you? You're doing it just to spite me. You're doing it.
Damn right they are.
Like, I don't want somebody that I don't know being the primary caregiver for my children. Just because, like, and especially if it's somebody who, like, they have a totally different, like, way to raise kids. Maybe they're, like, nudists or whatever, you know, like, that's an extreme point of view. But, like, I don't want my kids having to see shit that they, you know, will be uncomfortable with. And I don't want the, like, things that I feel should not be normalized for children to be normalized. Like, you like, I do kind of shelter my kids from what they see on television. Like, they don't see sexy stuff. You know, there's none of that. Because kids see that and they think, oh, yeah, that's what I want to do. Kids know how to, like, play fight, but they will also play intimacy, too. That's what the whole, like, let's play house mommies and daddies thing is. And you have to really watch kids when it comes to that stuff because they don't know where the line is as readily. So, yeah, no, fuck that. No. Like, no one is raising my children but me. And I'm certainly not fucking sharing that with somebody else's snot-nosed little brats. Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
Sorry. I know other people's kids. Most of them are fucking shitheads.
Preach.
Well, not one of my kids owns their own tablet or has a cell phone. Like, my oldest does because she works. And that's why she has a cell phone. Because she works.
Yeah. See, I didn't get a cell phone until high school when I think I was like 15. And I played soccer for the school, and it was raining outside, and the office locks up after school. So there's no way to get in and get to a phone. And the only payphone we had was somebody had vandalized it and pulled the cord out. So I ended up waiting in the rain like 2.5 hours for my mom to get off work.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like,
remember that shit.
She's like, why didn't you call your grandmother? And I was like, I have a phone. So after that, she's like, because we always took the bus and went home, you know, by ourselves. So she's like, well, why didn't you walk to your friend's house or something? And I was like, I don't know, because it was raining over here. So I figured, you know, somebody would come to pick me up and I didn't want to leave. And they were over here and I was on my way home. And, you know, like I wanted to be in the place I was supposed to be because I didn't want to get in trouble. She's like, well, yeah, that makes sense. Why wouldn't she come here? And it wasn't like incredibly far to the school to my house. It was, you know, I don't know, 15-minute drive, but, you know, a couple of miles. And I was like, I don't know, you know, maybe it wasn't raining over there. And she's like, oh, that's ridiculous. Well, it's also Florida. So it rains like only on one street and it won't rain on the rest of the streets. So I got home, sun shining, it's beautiful at the house, no rain. Like, she's like, it never rained here. And I was like, it was pouring at the school. So my mom's like, that's it, we're getting you a phone. And it was like, you know, one of those like old bricks. And like, I think it had like 2 minutes on it. And she's like, you call if it's an emergency, don't use it otherwise. I'm like, That was why I got a cell phone.
Okay. Sorry, just stubbed my toe. So
You okay?
yeah, maybe that's karma for making base mama listen through this.
Good, you deserve it.
Okay, mom just told me night with my real name on stream. Hopefully, no one heard it. Anyways, to do this, we could establish facilities far away
facilities. Oh, I'm sorry. I read
far
on
away
out
from the
loud. I'm
city.
sorry.
Continue with.
You want me to
This
read
is
it?
probably
Okay.
going to be the last paragraph I read of this.
To do this, we could also establish facilities far away from cities, in the wilderness, where children could be raised in peace, with enough space to do anything they want. Cities are not designed for kids, at least not under the modern parenting system. Anyone who's ever watched a hapless parent maneuver a stroller through a subway station, or witnessed the residents of a wealthy neighborhood resist school integration, or listened to a family brag about uprooting their lives to get their children into a better city school, has understood something about the fate of children in hyper-competitive metropolises. Besides, much of what makes a city great, including the sense of tolerance that among those raised within a diverse population, could be replicated in these groups of kids. No, the most racist fucking people I've ever met in my entire fucking existence have been in New York and Los Angeles.
Yep.
And they
This-
all
Facilities
fucking
far
hate
away
each
from
other.
kids.
Did anybody else picture
Yeah.
a bunch of free-range kitties when they said we could establish facilities away from cities in the wilderness where children can be raised in peace with space enough to do anything they want? I just imagine like a
It
hill
sounds
full
like-
of kittens running like
Well, to me, it sounds like
What?
Preston Manor,
mind
that
immediately went-
facility for orphans. That's what it sounds like to me. It's like a kid prison. That's what you're talking about.
yeah.
My mind went to Children of the Corn for some reason.
Because that's what happens when you leave children to run things.
They have a system that's in place in a lot of schools. I think Montessori does some of it, but there's a place. It's called Reggio Emilia, and it's very much like child-directed learning. And that kind of stuff is where you facilitate the learning by asking questions, but you don't necessarily lead a lesson. So you're not like, okay, we're going to learn about bumblebees. These are the things that bumblebees do. Like a kid will find a bumblebee outside and go,
So
what's
they
that? And you're like,
transform and
oh.
they fight robots and
yeah, like, oh, that's a bee and this is what bees do. And, you know, let's watch a bee video and let's make bees. And you just kind of let them do like whatever they want and let them direct the lesson, but it's facilitated by an adult so that they don't get off topic. Because like what happens is, hey, look, what's that? Oh, that's a bumblebee. Oh, a lizard.
Yeah, kids
You're
are.
okay.
They're like all. They're
So,
like all ADD. Like all of them.
yeah, like in
That's why
theory,
it's like really hard to tell.
in theory it's good, but in practice it is terrible. And I tell, as I used to teach 2-year-olds, and I would have them in that space of time where they were 2 turning 3, and the parents would be like, they're like emotional disasters. What do I do? And I'm like, that's just how they are. They're gonna be emotional disasters. There's a lot of things that they're gonna get frustrated about because they're very ready to do it on their own, but at the same time they're not really big enough to do it on their own. So they're getting told not to do it because it's not going to be necessarily the safest thing to stand on a chair and try to get something because they might fall because they're still kind of like in that awkward toddler sort of phase, but they're also really good at balancing most of the time. So there's a duality to their personalities that's going on right now. If you evaluated a 2-year-old turning 3, any 2-year-old turning 3 for bipolar disorder, guarantee you several hallmarks. You know, like you just can't, because that's just how they are. So if you're
You
trying
can't
to,
tell the
if you're
difference
trying
between
to,
a kid and a sociopath. Are you kidding me?
Oh.
Like you would kids are hard to
'Cause-
diagnose.
they're nuts because there's just so much going on, and they don't know how to deal with most of it. So if you're talking about running classrooms like that, where it's child led, and they're 2 turning 3, which is the school that I was working in, was a Reggio Emilia style school, and I would go into my boss all the time. I'm like, look, I put out the provocation. I put, all the natural things. You wanted feathers and sticks, and we're gluing them to a paper, whatever, rocks, whatever. And they threw them at each other, and they poked each other with them. And I told them that that wasn't safe, and that that wasn't a good choice.
Yeah,
What did I do?
Like,
Yeah,
fuck you, lady.
yeah, like what did I do wrong here? Because I'm trying to like stick by your system, but at the same time, like I'm gonna throttle them. And she's like, well, let's see how you set up the provocation. I'm like, all right. So you go in there. It's very nice. It's very beautiful. Pictures of what a forest looks like. Here's a bunch of natural materials you can use to create your forest on a piece of paper. And it's like, why aren't they sitting down and doing it? And I'm like, because they're 2. Because this is uninteresting to them. They don't want to do this. They want to hit each other with it and beat each other with it. They want crayons and probably to eat them, and they just want to be left alone. Like they don't want this whole idea of trying to teach them about a forest by giving them materials and setting it out. It's just not doing it. Like they're not doing it. It's not happening. She's like, well, I don't know. They should be doing. And I'm like, when they're older, maybe. Because then they'll be like, okay, I can see the pictures, and I can see the materials, and I see all the art stuff, so we must be doing art with this. 2 turning 3, they're like, yes, rocks. Pick them up and throw them. I'm like, what are you doing?
and everything's a gun.
Do we ever throw rocks? Yeah, guns out of the sticks. You're like, do we ever throw rocks? We don't bring weapons to school. And they're like, this is awesome. And you're like, okay, can you glue that to your paper? No. All right. Well, I've done all I can do. Like, I mean, they just don't function that way. So if you are gonna let them do whatever they want, you're gonna like just open up a farm and just have a kid farm. There's gonna be a lot of dead kids. They don't have the ability to reason. They don't have that. They don't have the skill to be like, stop hitting your friend with the rock. He's bleeding. They just keep doing it. You're like, why are you doing that? I don't know. It was a game. It was fun.
It feels nice.
Like, yeah, now he's dead. So good work, Hunger Games. You win.
The other thing that comes to mind is this: what's going to be the end goal of that?
It's a bunch of fucking hipsters who don't know what they're doing. Like, and they're raising their kids like the fucking Manson family. You're like, yeah, that's a great way to do it. Just everybody drop acid and hang out at the ranch.
Ugh, yeah, no, I'm good. Oh man. Ugh. All right. I hate this so much. Like I'm trying to be cool about it, but like I fucking hate it.
I'm surprised
Let's
you
just
hadn't heard
let
about
kids run
the
wild. Like they're
article
just
till
all going to
now.
be covered in shit and bleeding. Like that's going to be the end result of this. Pro gamers should use their real names. Why? I don't use my real name.
Oh, it's something from a supposedly gaming journalist site, Kotaku. Point out this is the
Kotaku is
weirdest
such
setup.
fucking garbage.
This is the weirdest looking setup ever.
Pro gamers should use it. What's the difference? Does anybody give a shit?
No.
And anyone, for one, who calls themselves a pro gamer. Referring to like esports or case, they're probably already using their real names.
I just
second
what's
bit to
the
go
I
there.
think they
difference?
just want them to use their real name so that they can like name and shame them. I'm just gonna tell you that.
Like, here's the thing, like when somebody does like a YouTube video online, or is on their Twitter and they're an anonymous, or on their game streams and they're not, who fucking cares? Like, I don't need to know who you are to like your content or dislike your content. You have an idea, you put it out there, I either like it or I don't like it. I don't really have to give a shit if you're Tom Brokaw. Doesn't matter. I don't fucking care. So like, there are probably more people in the same boat that I'm in than people who are like, I need to know who this person is. Like, most people just press the play button, watch what they're gonna watch, and it really doesn't matter if this guy's like buttsex69 or whatever his handle is. No one's gonna care. So I don't get why everybody wants everybody to be unanonymous. Like, oh, you need to put your real name. Like, if you want to put your real name out there, great. If you don't, it's also great. It's not going to make a difference. It doesn't change the content. It doesn't change what you're doing. It doesn't matter.
No.
It gives morons a platform to call you a coward.
Let's see. So apparently this person, I don't know who the writer of this thing is, here's some with you from a guy with surface level interest in esports to you, referring to people who do esports. Name instead of some gamer handle.
I don't see why it matters. Like I'm trying. I really think it's just so they can name and shame you, so they can just be like, that's so and so. They should be fired from their
Easier
job.
probably to dox you and stuff.
Garbage.
I'm sure you've heard this before.
Anyone who goes out of their way to try to figure out who somebody is, or who tries to like make it so that you can't be anonymous, is just some fucking dumb fuck sitting at their house wondering how they can ruin lives.
Unless it's someone who uses a file or something like that, I don't think that it's necessary. Take that information to the police. Don't post it online. I'm sure that you have heard this before. Some jerk looking down his nose at you. Yeah, let me assure you, I do respect games and gamers. Sure you do, Kotaku. Sure you do. It does sound silly when a Smash commentator, Dr. PP, many times in a serious voice, Axe versus Dr. PP. But that's not why I want you to abandon your handles. I want you to leave it behind you because I humiliate your opponent. So, heck? Guy doesn't play games. Are you guys still there, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
I'm not
still here.
understanding like why this guy thinks it's so important
'Cause you have to
to
read more.
pwn somebody under your own name. Does it matter? Usually if I play those like old arcade games, I always put like ass as the name.
If it's an esports, then you're probably already using your real name. You're like, I don't watch esports, but it seems like that's something you use your real names to begin with. Like you're playing Call of Duty with a couple of friends, I don't think you need your real name. Imagine this, you and Injustice 2 Pro are in the middle of a test against your fiercest rival, a man known as some shit. You pull off an incredible victory. At some point, is the broadcaster, overcome by the moment, screams, and X-Trap has been defeated by Greg. All right. That sounds stupid. Here. Like, that sounds like one of those anticlimactic lines, like, sounds like it's serious, and then...
Ugh, no, this guy's just a narcissist. He's an idiot.
Also, most games I know wouldn't say your handle by name. They probably say what playing as, not anything else. It shows you're braver than your opponent's sister, Danger says in the chat. Which probably is the case, but I don't know. This is stupid. That's you. Why are you going by Greg in this Injustice 2 tournament? Much sting it felt wrecked by a guy named Greg. Oh, so Greg is a stupid name now.
Sorry, guy's named Greg. Kotaku thinks your name is stupid.
Also, Brad.
That's
Keep
what-
reading.
Yeah, Brad.
What? Who's... Oh, I didn't know sad. Quantum for A will be spelled by Brad when he loses to Steve. Well, I guess if you lose to Steve Shives, you should feel bad.
One of my best friends is named Steve.
Sorry for him. Will I4Q7 even being able to keep playing after she is defeated by Rachel? Not see your point, Mr. Kotaku writer. As far as I can tell, you seem to have been smoking a bit of pot.
It's he just
I don't
thinks-
get, like, he thinks that gamers are all men and all are sexist. Like, that's what,
Click
that's
on
what,
that.
that's
Click
what
on
I'm
his-
hearing.
click on his profile. I want to see what this nigga. I want to see what this guy looks like. Sorry, I'm really tired, and sometimes that's actually how I
And you're
talk.
drunk too, aren't you?
Uh,
Wait,
nah.
is there actually someone with the name Dr. Peepee?
Probably.
Yeah, I want to see what
I
this
thought
guy
they
looks
made
like.
that up. I clicked on it. Where's the zoom function? One moment. Come on, computer, don't freeze on me now.
It's not that important. I just wanted to see what kind of an individual feels.
Well, let's see.
Well, his
Well,
name
he's
is
the
Tom.
writer for. I know who Tom Lay is. Oh yeah, click on that shit. Click on it. Do it.
I'm clicking on
Or
it, but
go
it's
to
not
his
doing
go to his
anything.
Twitter, and we'll make fun of him from there.
This is the quality content you get on here. Poetry and whatever else comes to mind.
I can already tell from that beard. This is gonna be Tom Lay.
Sounds
That's his
classic.
name. He just thinks it'd be cool for someone to be like, "Oh no, I just got beat by Tom Lay."
Okay, one moment. This is going slow, so I'm gonna have to go a roundabout way.
Okay. The best name ever is Dick Trickle.
Mm.
Yeah, that's an actual person.
Dover sounds okay.
No, his name is Dick Trickle, and he drove in NASCAR. That's fucking awesome. He always would lose because he'd have to light his cigarettes. He would slow down. He's actually pretty good, I guess. But yeah, he was always smoking a cigarette. And they'd be like, "Here comes Dick Trickle," and he could have gone by
Okay,
Rich,
so I'm
but he
sharing
didn't.
the link with. Yes.
I don't have side chat because I'm on mobile.
Well, I'm sending it through Twitter.
Oh, okay.
But judging from his thing, he seems to be a sports person.
Yeah,
Like-
a sports person who can't play sports and lives with his cat. Nerd.
Oh, now you're start.
Yeah, it's this lonely guy with this weak facial structure and a cat. No wonder he
Of
thinks it'd be
course.
cool for someone to get pwned by him under his own name. Because no one has ever said his name with any sort of passion.
He doesn't strike me as the character who plays a lot of games.
What? Why does he have pictures of dudes?
He's
He
a
has pictures of naked dudes. Maybe he's gay. I mean,
Tom Lay.
looks like he lives alone with his cat.
Yeah.
He also hates
Quite
Clay
person.
Travis. He hates that guy who is all about boobs on CNN.
So the in this is he doesn't know much about gaming. Sorry, Chad, I would show it to you, but my computer is not
That's
behaving.
fine. It's a Kotaku writer. Like, they never know anything about gaming.
No.
It's like the gaming magazine for the casual gamer who doesn't really care and doesn't really know how.
Yeah. I'm gonna
The
try
internet
closing out
hates
of
you.
this because it often does. Oh, and to everyone who's following posted in the chat, please don't go harass it.
Eh. Just give him
I mean,
an
I
honest
really
review
don't
of his
care,
writing.
but I'm just
No one's gonna go harass him.
not illegally, anyways.
Just tell him how great that
Oh, is there
article was and how enlightening it was.
Yep. And how you're gonna get pwned by Greg.
This guy, I don't. This guy's so weird. His Twitter's weird. He's weird.
I don't get his point about some guy with some interesting name getting pwned by Greg.
Like, he retweets somebody replying to Donald Trump, "Go fuck yourself." Like, why? I don't know.
It takes absolutely no effort.
Yeah, he also doesn't like Donald Trump, so
No, I could never have figured that part out.
yeah. Weak ass.
Well,
Like I said, you have to do like his media and stuff. It's like a fucking disaster. It's like, here's my cat. Here's me and my cat.
Yes.
Here's these, idiots on Twitter.
Yep. That's exactly what it is.
that cat is.
I don't want to speak for him, but I think he
manspreading.
might be gay.
Can I point out that cat is manspreading in his profile pic?
Ugh.
I don't know. I just thought it was fun.
Yeah, that's his cat in the picture. Boy or a girl cat, though.
We're gonna say it's a boy and say he's a sexist for letting his cat myth man spread all over the internet.
It looks like he is owned by the cat.
That's probably the case.
Well, let's be honest. It's a cat, so the cat owns you. You're the cat's pet.
After all,
That's why I
cats
don't
are
like
puppies.
cats.
That's not how it works in my house. I taught my cat how to sit, stay, come.
Come.
How to ask for permission to go inside of rooms. My cat is my bitch.
That's so rare to hear nowadays. So is there anything else you guys want to go over?
I'm good.
No, I'm solid. I think I've had enough torture for a night. I think, you've tortured me for 2 solid hours.
Yep.
Now I want die.
That's usually what we do to everyone.
Yep.
That's why we don't have very many repeat guests.
Yep. We scare them all away.
They're like, oh, those guys. Ugh.
Well, anyways, thanks to you all for watching. Please go check out Dave's mama, and please don't be too mean to her since this stream was apparently torture for her.
I'm just going to get spammed with bad articles about bad parenting now. Thank you.
Give her back rubs instead.
Or bad poetry.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. The poetry is really bad, though.
It's really bad.
So thank you for watching. Have a nice night. And remember, if you have a name called Greg, you suck.